Hey, what's up, everyone? Morey here, and today we're going to be doing a sprinting mechanics breakdown on Gout Gout's 1998 that he ran yesterday, going more in depth into his start and looking at his top speed and where he is at when it comes to his overall development. We'll go ahead and hop right into the video here. We can see Gout Gout in the red here, and what really stands out, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, is just how good of a reaction and start that he was able to get. I really like some of the shin angles, some of the body positions that he's in right here with the lower body, but you could see how much quicker he was out compared to everybody else, which just shows an indication of where he's at from a kind of brain muscle connection. He's very twitchy, he's very connected there, which is great. And then also, as he's getting out, even though his start last video that I made on him, there's a lot of things that kind of stood out that he could maybe work on within his block start, things that he could do from a body position. There's a lot of things that really stand out that he's doing really good here. One being getting the foot down quickly, and another being getting into a lot of extension very easily here. We could see some of the other athletes just struggling to get good extension and the timing of the extension. We can see here getting a lot of hips forward before getting into the knee extension, where with Gout Gout, he's doing a good job of being able to get everything to be happening kind of simultaneously and really pushing out to create knee extension rather than getting the hips in front and then trying to really push off with the foot is just a bad coordinating action here with that start. We don't want to be getting here and then pushing. We want to be pushing from the very beginning to get a full triple extension out of the blocks. And you can see that's how he gets great separation. He does a great job with the second step as well. And this is also how you get off the ground quicker, is to really get a good triple extension from the beginning, because now your hips are getting out in front very, very quickly, very effectively. And I think he does a pretty good job of being able to create a lot of force into the ground very quickly. I think he might get up a little bit too early there. His front side mechanics get high pretty early on. He even talked a little bit about where he didn't feel like his start was very good at the beginning. He had a great reaction time and took a very good first few steps, but it seemed like he was a little impatient with his drive phase, and that just made it so he got into kind of a top speed position a little bit earlier. He could stay more patient with the drive phase. He's still really young, so he has plenty of time to develop when it comes to some of the things that he can work on with like the nerves and just kind of that competitive mindset that you need to be able to excel at the highest level of track and field. I do think with his running and what he's doing with like his left leg, how he comes up and underneath, and we talked about this in the last video, I think it really helps him in the 200, because as he's coming around, it allows him to get into a good position with his foot strike very, very easily. He kind of comes around with that left leg as he gets to top speed. And you can see how natural that makes the 200 for him as he's turning. Very easy. He's able to maintain a very high speed as he's going through that curve. And I would make an argument that his first 100, while there's still a lot of things that can improve within his start, was really like the better part of the race for him. Not that his last 100 was bad, just that he, definitely was able to have a lot of success there. Now, when you watch, and this is where this one I think really comes into play, he, I think, has so much more room for growth when it comes to that power production in his legs. You can see here as he grows, as he continues to get stronger as a athlete, he's going to be able to create a lot better kind of punch into the ground as he gets into his top speed. Not that this is bad, obviously, he just ran sub 20, but when it comes to watching, like I just did a video on Usain Bolt and Let's See Tobogo, so it's a very different type of action when you see guys like Johan Blake, guys like Usain Bolt, when they're striking the ground, there's just a different level of force. Now, they also did it when they're in their 20s, where Gout Gout's in his teens, and so it's just a different type of force production here that we can see Gout Gout creating. But I do think there's a ton of opportunity for him to be able to grow and get a lot better within his 200. And if there's anybody that is going to be able to really put a lot of pressure on the 200-meter record, in my opinion, it would be Gout Gout. Just watching him go through this here, he is, I mean, one of the things that stands out with Usain Bolt when you watch him is like there's not very many people that just create that much separation from all the other competition, like what you see with Gout Gout. I mean, he's just way in front of everybody. That's what really makes you see how he could be such a great talent and has so much potential within him because he's just creating so much separation and continuing to push himself to be the best. And that's what, it's easy to like about the guy. But I still see some inefficiency within like his arm swing. He's doing a lot with like the head, and he does a really good job with the left arm, I would say. Right arm is a little bit kind of down and then back as he's pulling, where that left arm, he's got a nice fluid action there. He does a good job keeping the shoulders down. He does a good job with that front side and at least getting into the positions you need to get to, where his knees are coming up, legs are getting out in front. He does a great job with that foot strike. But again, just like the power in his legs, as he continues to develop, as he continues to get stronger, you're going to start to see those numbers go further and further and further down. He did do this with a +3 wind. And so 3.6, 3.4, somewhere in there. And so it wasn't a win legal time, but he still ran with the win legal time. He ran 20.05. So he's still running elite times. That's still world leading right there. And so it just shows he's in a great position to be able to do some big things this year and have a great career. And I do think that 200 is going to be something where he's going to be able to excel at and put up some very, very special numbers, especially as he starts competing at a higher and higher level. There just doesn't seem like there's anything that can possibly slow him down other than himself, because even from what we saw last year compared to this year, I think he's already getting technically a lot more sound. And as, again, he can get a little bit stronger, more powerful with that leg strike, I think that's going to be very beneficial. Now, if I was watching this, what I would kind of take away from it is, one, that reaction and that block start. I think he's already making improvements there. I know he talked about he was training with Noah Lyles, and so they definitely looked at, and I know he used a lot of science-based stuff with his block start, so they've definitely taken a look at it. They've definitely been able to improve the block start. He could still work on that drive phase, so take a look at the block start if I were you and really try to kind of replicate some of the things that he was doing, as well as just the range that he's getting in that foot strike. I mean, that's what really separates him and makes it so he is still able to run such elite times, even with not having a huge amount of power in his legs yet. He's obviously a powerful guy. He's not a weak guy. But when it comes to, again, those elite level times, he's just not as powerful as like Usain Bolt when he was running 19.19 or Johan Blake running 19.26. Different types of strength and power that were being generated into the ground. But when Gout Gout gets a little bit older and is able to continue to run, develop that power with having such a strong natural foot strike, I mean, that's what really stands out is he gets that great ankle flexion and then really generates a lot of force down into the ground there and just does it very, very efficiently. That's what really is something that you want to be able to see within yourself. I see a lot of guys when they get to like this position here within their running, they'll go right back down into foot strike. Right, so they're going here, and then they go right down, or even as they get into this position within their foot, that's as they're striking the ground. What makes Gout Gout unique is he's getting so much power into the ground that he's getting enough height within his foot and also push within the left leg. So power here and push, where he's able to have plenty of range to be able to get that leg out in front and then pull his body through. So he's landing with that foot right underneath the hip with a lot of power, with a lot of force to get him into that next step. That's what you want to be able to replicate as an athlete. If you're struggling with it, I would look at the foot strike and really be able to understand, are you lacking range of motion in the toes? Are you lacking range of motion in the ankles? Are you lacking the strength and the power within the push off? And be able to really understand how you could develop that better to make it so then you can continue to improve your speed. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you liked the information. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, like and subscribe. That makes a big difference. It really helps us out. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, you can leave those down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.